is being recorded. All right, namaste and good morning to all of you. So let's start our Tuesday class, Narad Bhakti Sutra, with the prayers. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhu Bhuvaswaha, Tatsavitra Varenayam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yo Naha Prachodayat, Asto Ma Satgamya, Tamso Ma Jyotirgamya, Mrityurma Amritam Gamya. Om Sehna Bhavatu, Sehna Bhunaktu, Sehviryam Karvavahi, Tejasvi Navadhitamastu, Ma Vidvishavahi. Om Shanti 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 Om. So in Narad Bhakti Sutra, last week we learned in verse number 58, the devotion is readily available. That means easily attainable. So we all can love God because we are nothing but love. Okay, we got to just change our object a little. Learn whom to love. The love real nature, Atma. We all are that. Okay, so this bhakti is possible for everyone, and everybody can reach to the highest. Okay, so that's where we ended our last week's class with verse number 58. Now he's giving us a reason why it's easily attainable or available to all of us. Verse number 59. परमान अंतर से अनपेक्षात्वात् स्वयं परमानत्वात् च परमान अंतर से. It's like a praman over here means proof. Proof is inside. Or it's like a proof. It is a proof itself. Anapekshat. Because of non-dependence. That means it's not dependent upon anything other than you. Swayam itself. Pramanatvat, being of the nature of a proof. That means it's a self-evident. Cha means and. Because love depends on no other proof. It in itself being of the nature of a proof. Love is self-evident. So he has been telling us the path of love, the Bhakti Marg, is easier than all other spiritual paths to perfection. Because love depends upon no other evidence. It is its own proof. Love depends upon nothing else. Like when we learn the Jnana, Vivek, that needs proof. Vivek solely depends upon a person's discrimination between the real and the unreal, between the right and the wrong, between the permanent and the impermanent. And a person's ability to live that power of discrimination moment to moment, that is Jnana, that is Vivek. Constantly discriminate. And proof of Vairagya also rests on whether one can keep aloof from the attractions of the world, Vairagya, and not fall into the charms of this world. But Bhakti, the devotion, is not because of any accessory. Nothing else makes devotion possible. It is its own praman. So devotion is not proved by anything else. It needs nothing else to establish it. That's another way you can look at it. That's why he says it's a self-evident. It is the silence. It is the light of love. It glows constantly in the lover's own mind. It's inside, antarasya, internally. Knowledge or actions or birth, none of these can ever condition bhakti or love. We have very beautiful examples from our scriptures. While Buddha was a prince, but what is dedication? What is sadhana? Even being a prince, ignorant Shabri, what a love she had, dedication. Hanuman, born as a monkey, Vibhishan, a Rakshas. No difference in the warmth of their love. So, in the ultimate reward for their devotion was the connection with God. Gyan cannot attend anyone and everyone that so easily. Gyan can come to the intellectuals. Anybody who has pursued the studies, spent some time in the deep reflection, and also had the opportunity to get a proper guidance from a qualified teacher. So that means there has to be some time spent between the teacher and the taught to study, and the student has to listen properly. That philosophy which is being preached by a qualified teacher. Conviction has to be there. In Karam Yoga also, you need a field of action so that you can serve with the right mental attitude. For a Hatha Yoga also, you must regularly and strictly practice the postures, the breathing, the meditations. But in Bhakti, no particular circumstances or favorable conditions are needed. Bhagat may do whatever he likes. That means no matter what kind of a job a Bhagat does. It could be a leader, it could be a follower, it could be a teacher, it could be a householder. It does not matter. Whatever the duty is. But there has to be a love potential which is already in all of us. Potential is there in everybody. At every moment, we got to just tap into it. We are that love. So it's like a love is lying idle in our hearts. Love is there. We got to just withdraw or take it out. We have to employ this love in the pursuit of His God's infinite grace. That is the path of devotion. We don't need to get anything from outside. It's inside us, antarasya. Because in the modern era, everybody wants proof. So that's why he has put this kind of a verse over there, Naradji. He says, you really don't need any proof for this. It's already inside you. Because people often say that if there's a God, What is the proof? This devotion, what is the proof? You got to look within. Actually, in our life, so many things we have accepted without asking for the proof. If we start accepting this also, without asking for the proof, just have a faith in it, it will grow. When we all went to school, the first day when they told us the letter A is written like that, did we ask for a proof? We didn't. We accepted it. 2 plus 2 is 4. We accepted it. There was no proof. So why can't we just accept this also in the spiritual realm? It's like when we are asking for proof, we are depending upon the pride of our intellect. And that pride in the intellect does not let us go into this deeper realm. Because we think that we are so intelligent and we want to understand. Only then we will accept it. So Naradji knows this nature of human beings. Unless you get proof, you won't accept it. So he says, Bhakti will need no external proof. Your experience will prove it to you. Your experience. It's almost like if somebody says, I'm hungry. You say, prove it to me. Show me. How can you show it? There is no parameter for hunger. Medical science doesn't have it yet. We just believe if somebody says, I'm hungry, we say, okay, all right, take some food. Because our experience tells us this. And when I say I'm not hungry, if somebody says, prove it, we cannot prove that either. We have to accept it. So similarly, our soul is yearning for contentment, for satisfaction, for bliss. And we have gone through life after life. But the discontentment still remains. Because we have not established this relationship with our Creator, with our beloved. No matter what we have become, no matter how much material opulence we have, no matter where we have gone, soul is hungry within. We are looking for this kind of a love. Only then we'll experience that wonderful satisfaction. And when the experience comes, that conviction comes so strong. Just like the whole world told Prahlad that your father Hiranyakashipu is greater than Vishnu. He says no. Conviction was there. He just kept worshipping Vishnu no matter what came in his way because of his experience of that love divine. So similarly, we have to have this conviction. When we engage into this properly, connecting our mind and the heart with God, the bliss we will definitely feel from within. And we will know it. We may not be able to speak about it, but we'll know it. So this kind of a feel, this experience will give you the proof itself. You don't need any other external proof. Okay. In the next one, he further explains, because in these verses, what he's trying to tell us, 58 to 60. So 58, 59, 60, he's telling us how easy this bhakti is. We think it's very difficult. No, this is the easiest. Sure, we can have the knowledge also. We should become yogi also. We should take care of our body also. But not without this bhakti rasa. This is the prime. This is the main thing. Because it gives you Shanti Rupat, Param Anand Rupat cha. So that's why it's so easy. Shanti Rupat, because it is of the nature of peace. Param Anand Rupat, because it is of the nature of the supreme bliss. Cha means and. And because love is of the nature of peace, it is of the nature of supreme bliss. That's why it's so easy and it is available to everybody. So he is expounding the excellence of bhakti. He is encouraging us actually by saying this because we all want shanti. We all want bliss. So he says it will give you this because this is the nature of bhakti. And it's not dependent on any other proof. It is its own proof. So form of a peace of mind, Shanti Roop, and the form of supreme happiness, Paramanand Roop. So bhakti, see, whenever our mind is agitated, that means we are disconnected. Remember that. Bhakti and agitations can never coexist. Okay, so we got to just at that time fix it. Mind gets agitated because mind wants something from the world. Mind is looking for some kind of a result. When it doesn't get it, it gets agitated. So remember, we got to keep an eye on the love for God. So when one is thinking of, or when a person is with his beloved, mind becomes quieter. We have seen that in our worldly relationships also, where there is an unconditional love, wherever there is a pure love, mind is calm. It becomes agitated only when we make our relationship dependent upon some kind of a thing. I should be treated this way. I should have this. I should go there. Mind gets agitated. When there's no expectations, mind is calm. So that's why I said that our mind becomes quieter and calmer because bliss is the very nature of love. A lover knows nothing other than bliss. Continuously contemplating upon our beloved. And to remain in such a condition is in itself its own reward. That's why he said Shanti and Paramanand. It is inexpressible. Because who can really define Shanti? Who can define joy? That's why the nature of love cannot be expressed fully in words. Language is falls short. We got to experience this. This is something to be experienced, bliss and peace. So all that we can say at best of devotion is that it is of the nature of supreme peace and supreme bliss. That's what he's saying. Just think about your own experience. At some time or the other, you must have tasted some great peace or bliss. All the circumstances, the environment, you can describe, but that experience you cannot describe. You can say that I went there, I ate that, I met that person, but the experience of bliss and peace you cannot describe. It is indescribable because it is the actual experience in itself. It is certainly indescribable. Series of exclamations you can use to describe. Like normally we say aha and the uhu and the grand and the great. Those kind of words we use to describe it. Marvelous, glorious. But those are again the words. They don't describe it completely. So up to a point, it seems like it's graspable. But no, it needs to be experienceable. So how then can a devotee practice his devotion? Living in this world, ups and downs come because we live in this world where changes happen constantly. People come into our life, people leave also. We get successes also, we get the failures also. There's a good weather, there's a not very good weather. So how do we practice love to this level? Especially when a person is distressed by bereavement, when he suffers loss of wealth, or when the name and the fame is taken away, how do you stay connected with this ultimate experience constantly? Because Narada is telling us that this devotion will make you experience peace and divine bliss. But how do we do it? In the next verse, he answers that. Verse number 61. Because we do have the examples of certain saints, certain people in our own lives also. They went through ups and downs, but the connection was never severed. How did they do it? See, like there is a saint from Gujarat, Narsingh Mehta. 500 years ago, his whole house got burnt. Wife and children, they died in that fire. When he came to know, his response was, which is very famous in Gujarati, it says, some of you Gujaratis sitting over here, I'm sure you have heard this. Bhalu thayu bhagi janjal sukhe bhaje Shri Gopal. That means I am very happy. He says, houses burnt, kids died, wife died. He said, I'm very happy that all my material encumbrances got finished. I can think of God alone. Because nothing could have changed. They died, house got burnt. Either you can cry over or you can look at that experience and see what you're going to do next. He says, I can think about God alone. This happened 500 years ago, but I met a lady in Chicago. I think a couple of decades ago. She was in India. House got burnt. Husband and children, they died. She comes over here with that news. I met her little bit after that, the calmness on her face. And he said, this is all the time I had with them. And she teaches Bhagavad Gita. She is a member of a Gita society. So there are devotees like that who stay connected in spite of these very, very sad periods in their life too. Okay? So connection with God to this level, we should look for. Okay? So if these people can do it, when everything is taken from them, still they're connected. Why can't we connect while having everything else? Why can't we be thankful to God that God, you have given us so much and I want to stay connected with you? Why can't we do that? So let's see how Narada is explaining this. How a person can go through these down times and stay connected. Lok hanav chinta na karya nivedit atma lok vadshil tavat. Lo kahano, with regard to the losses of the world, chinta, worry, anxiety. No means not karya, ought to be entertained. Nivedit atmaha lok vadshil tvat, on account of his having the habit of surrounding his little self, and it's secular and sacred. See, lok is secular, like a worldly, and vad is sacred activities to the Lord. Okay, so he says no worry or anxiety should be entertained at the worldly losses, as it is the nature of a true love, true devotee, to constantly surrender his limited self and all its secular and sacred activities to the Lord of his heart. So that means the devotee of this caliber has surrendered everything. Not only the puja part, not just the worship, but even the secular activities also. So when you are doing everything for God, no matter what kind of a result there is, why are you worried about it? Let him worry, because you did it for his sake. So that's why Naradaji is very boldly declaring that even when you are beset by trials and misfortunes, whenever there's any kind of an obstacle on your path comes, still devotion is easy, because love is superior to all other paths. He says you can still do it because you are connected with God. All your actions are for God anyway. So never entertain anxiety. Don't worry. Never mind whatever happens. This is the attitude of a true seeker, because he sees that God is in everything. God is in the loss also, God is in the gain also. And my job is just to love God. I'm going to hold on to that. Devotee says, this is all your Maya. I know you are just behind this very sorrow I'm going through too. I am facing the sorrow now, but this is just a Maya, and behind the Maya, it's only you. In all my experiences, whether they're good or bad, often we forget at the time of good. Remember, the good also, it's a Maya. The fortunes also, the material fortunes which we get, and we have gotten many, that's Maya too. And behind the bed also, there is a divinity. Constantly, there is a beam of light with us. But how can a devotee in the early stages of the seeking remain with such a philosophical knowledge, or such kind of a composer? Because direct knowledge is not there. Remember, all these sorrows are at the mental level. And remind yourself, I am not the mind. I am not the mind, and I'm not its sorrows. I am the knower of the sorrows. So these sorrows cannot be ever mine. You're just seeing it, and you are the seer. So this knowledge we should always remember. With the help of this is like when we get the jnana, the jnani can stand apart from the sorrow like this. So some of us can use that. But when our devotion has really risen to a higher level, you have already offered everything to God. So if you are not able to offer everything, at least you can remember that it's at the mental level. That's like a one step up. But then later on, learn how to offer all of it to God. Lays yourself down at the altar of Lord. Totally surrender. Totally. It's not physically we do surrender. We do the pranam. We do prostration. But really learn how to surrender the entirely the whole personality of yours. Surrender. Then, no matter what we do, we know that it is for the joy of the Lord we are doing. So all worries and the anxieties are his then, not mine. Why should I worry about it? On what account we should weep then? That's what we learn from Avadhut Gita. Dattatreya keep telling us, why are you weeping? Anxiety, worries, weeping, cries, same thing. Bhagat says, apart from him, I don't even exist. Because everything of me is already laid at the feet of the Lord. I do not exist. It's just like a drop of water has merged into the ocean. There's no separate drop of water. I cannot worry over anything. It's all now his worry. Let him worry. I am only a witness of the sorrow, and the sorrow itself cannot be or even mine. So, Bhagat, to this caliber, because that's where we are going, that's our direction. So, that's why I said, if we are at the early stages, mentally you have to go there, think about it. But if you're already there, you know that you are living with this kind of attitude, dedicating yourself, the worldly actions also and the Vedic actions also. Nivedita Atma Lok Ved Sheel. That's what it means. So this attitude in the Bhagat needs to be cultivated. It is there, but we need to just take it out. And it requires a spirit of renunciation, joy of surrender, constant sense of self-offering. Morning, evening prayers, meditation, keeping some kind of a reminder of God, any form of God, name of God, even the music of the name of God takes us there. To give is ever the expression of love. Love is measured by the very joy of sacrifice. So when we surrender, we are giving ourselves to God. That's love. When we do the pranam, we are giving ourselves. We are giving our intellect also. We are giving our body also to God. So in that sense, I say that to give is ever the expression of love. And love is measured by the very joy of sacrifice, of giving oneself. All to the beloved. Once you have given, how can we take it back? We have offered to him in love, then there's no taking back, it's his. So that's how our anxieties are offered to him too. Worries are his. God, it's all yours now. You worry about it. So Bhagat does not waste any energy into the worry and the anxiety, does not spend any anxious enthusiasm over the various happenings in life, the worldly happenings. Anything happening, does it, but not wastes energy on it. So that's how Bhagat remains serene and keep on discovering this love for the Lord in the heart more and more. Because normally, average person, when they suffer loss in the world, they worry. They worry because they have invested so much only into the worldly life, earning, acquiring, accumulating, and identifying with what they have accumulated. But Bhagat says that this is all material. One day I'm going to leave it all behind. It's not mine. Each and everything I'm going to leave behind. So Bhagat doesn't worry about it. Even he has earned also. He has spent time also, but his mind was connected with God. So these worldly opulences a Bhagat has doesn't have ownership of it. He knows it belongs to the Prakriti. It's almost like uh, the pride of the worldly opulence he doesn't have. There is a little children's story which will bring this point to you. Uh, Once there was a mouse. He found a dollar bill and sat on it and felt very special. A dog passed by, but he did not pay much attention. And a mouse thought that he doesn't know my importance. I'm sitting on a dollar bill. The same way we human beings feel proud with our possessions. Whether this possession is in the looks or wealth or education, anything, name or fame, this is just like a dollar bill which mouse is sitting on. And this self-importance does not let us recognize the importance of God in our life. We spend so much energy, so much time into this self-importance. I have earned this, I am this, I got this. Ordinarily, when we get more in this world, whether it's a material possession or whether any kind of a recognition, we become too proud and we ignore the real purpose of life. We learn that from the scriptures also. What happened to Sugriv? He even once he got the kingdom with the help of Lord Ram, he forgot about even the promise he made to Lord Ram. And then you all remember when you studied Ramayana. To get him out of his intoxication, Lakshman had to go there to wake him up with that Agni Ban. This happens to us also. We just become bigger than, we think we are bigger than even God. We think we can dictate God now. So when there is a reversal in the world, we think there is a loss, but God thinks the soul is moving ahead actually. Sometimes these reversals or losses in the worldly spheres are our chance to move towards God. So the saints look at it that way. In Bhagavad Puran, there are a lot of stories like that. The devotees, they said, God, give us these losses so that we don't forget you. Not only in Bhagavad Puran, Bible says that God sometimes gives suffering to us. So we turn ourselves away from the sins and seek eternal life. All the great saints, all the God incarnates, They have come and said the same thing. If we have a faith in Him, we don't drown into the losses. We elevate ourselves into this spirituality. Okay, let's look at 62. So starting from 61 all the way to 66, how to practice this devotion so that we can overcome the obstacles. Because these obstacles, we sometimes think they're so big. But if we know how to practice bhakti, how to keep the connection with God, then we can overcome these obstacles also. So 61 all the way to 66 is the section. See, when we study something like this, section by section, and see what are we trying to get from these verses, then it is more clear to us. Because these scriptures are textbooks. Textbooks. Okay. Number 62. न तात सिद्धौ तात असिद्धौ लोक व्यवहारा हेय किंतु फल त्यागः तत् साधनम च कार्यम एव. No means not, tat means it, siddhau on attaining. Tat asiddho. Asiddhi is non-attainment. So till it is not attained, tat asiddho. Lok vyavhara, worldly activities. Haya, to be abandoned. Kintu means but, fal tyagaha, renunciation of fruits. Tat sadhanam, diligent pursuit of it. Sadhana. Cha means and, karyam must be done. Ev means certainly. So Narad is saying, till such a consummate love is not gained. So like a supreme love, the Parabhakti is not gained. Or on attaining the consummate love, worldly activities are not to be abandoned. That means that your duties must not be abandoned. But certainly we must diligently pursue love and learn to renounce our anxiety to enjoy the fruits of our activities. Okay? So keep on doing the duties. Just do not get attached to the fruits of your actions. This is the very first stage on this path. Okay? This is exactly what Lord Krishna told Arjuna also. Karam phal tyaga, not karam tyaga. Karam phal tyaga. And phal tyag, sometimes we think, oh, if I'm working hard, why shouldn't I get the fruit? Fruit you will get, but in your mind, you don't have to keep the fruit. In the mind, keep God. Outside, sure, if you're working hard, even at the level of Hatha Yoga, if you are doing asanas, if you're doing cleansings, if you're doing pranayama, you are getting the benefit, but in your mind, you can keep God. You don't have to constantly think that I am doing asanas 1 hour a day. I should have this kind of a body. No, that's not the right attitude for a Bhagat. It's my duty to take care of this body because God gave me this body. It's my duty. And I'm going to eat well. I'm going to clean it well. I am going to feed it well. But the result is not mine. I'm not supposed to have anxiety over it, worry over it. So this is what he's telling us. Till such a consummate love is not gained, or on attaining the consummate love, even if you are there, if you have not attained it, or even if you have attained it, worldly activities are not to be abandoned. You cannot say that, no, I have become a Par Bhagat now. Others should feed me now. They should take care of me now. No, you still keep on doing your duties. But certainly we must diligently pursue love and learn to renounce our anxiety to enjoy the fruit of our activities. I want you to just really think it through, this verse, because this is where we are. We have duties. We have duties towards our family, duties towards our body, our country, our some societal duties we have, some smaller than societal duties we have. We got to just look at it. Am I doing my duty for the fruit sake or for the duty sake? And am I remembering God while I'm doing the duties or not? To keep an eye. So think about it this week. Pay attention. How, how many times you have forgotten the message which we are learning from these scriptures? Can I make a diligent effort to just keep these messages in my mind or not? And then we'll talk about this, start our next week's class from this verse number 62. Okay, so Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Ev Avisheshyate Om Shanti 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 Om.